Hello and welcome to 12-Minute Review. Today I'll be reviewing Earwig and the Witch, which is based off of a book. And this is a Studio Ghibli film. The people behind My Neighbor Totoro, Ponyo, and Castle in Sky, Spirited Away, and so let's get to it. Okay, I grew up watching kid movies that were based off of books. Harry Potter, Matilda, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Wizard of Oz, and those tell a story within a good structure in a movie. Cause there's so many story if you actually read the Wizard of Oz book, there's so many other adventures that Dorothy has with her friends in Oz that they don't implement into the film, but are either referenced or hinted. But with Earwig and the Witch, it feels like they tell the first half of the story and then they just rush to the end. They don't pace it nicely. Cause the story of Earwig and the Witch is basically this. There's a girl named Earwig whose mother is a witch, and she drops her off at an orphanage. And when she drops her off, Earwig gets adopted by a witch and a warlock. And due to the fact that she got adopted is most likely due to the fact, well, not most likely, but I watched a movie, but the reason why she got adopted by this witch and this warlock is due to the fact that the witch and warlock were friends of her mother. And they're basically using her as an assistant. And she wants to learn magic because she's part rich, or she is a witch, and she wants to learn magic. So she takes it upon herself to learn magic because the other female witch isn't teaching her magic. And she gets help from the obligatory Studio Ghibli cat character, because almost half of every Studio Ghibli movie has a cat character. Kiki's Delivery Service. I believe Spirited Away has it. My Neighbor Totoro. But like I said, the movie rushes too quickly. It does. If you watch it yourself, it starts off slow because if you watch movies like Harry Potter, it's oh, we're setting up Harry is mistreated by his family, and then oh, Harry, you get accepted to Hogwarts, and then after Hogwarts, you get the lay of the land of where Hogwarts is, and you get to know who the villain is, and Harry proves himself by the end, and everybody loves him. But with Earwig and the Witch, it feels like you're watching, because in movies, time is sort of subjective. Where oh, this may happen in this first half of the movie may happen in a week or a month. But with Earwig and the Witch, it literally physically feels like you're watching days. So roughly the movie's about 3 days long, and then they cut to the end where it's been about a year or so. And the animation's okay. It's nothing to go crazy about. It's not done in the typical 2D Studio Ghibli charm, but I do miss the 2D, because you don't see much 2D animation anymore, and you have to keep it alive. There's a flow and fluidity that takes skill when animating in 2D, because it feels real, but it's not real, but it is real. Other than that, I like the character of Earwig because she's the typical spunky girl who wants to learn her past. I like the two witches. Well, I like the witch and the warlock. I forgot their name. I want to say Baba Yaga, but I'm thinking of another movie that I watched recently. But they're fine, and they do their thing. Just as again, this is a spoiler. At the end of the movie, which I have read the end of the book, because I've read the book to try to get an understanding for it. By the end of the book, Earwig somehow uses her powers to have the warlock and the witch to do her every bidding, which does follow this. But like I said before, the movie feels rushed. And I can understand why Hayao Miyazaki's son, because Hayao Miyazaki's son worked on this movie, not him. why Hayao Miyazaki walked out of the film, and like I don't think these are his words, but he said something on the line of like, "There's no heart in it," and I can honestly say there is no heart in it. At times, like a movie should keep you engaged. I was engaged halfway, but at times I just looked at my phone, and I've watched this online from HBO. And like a movie should keep you engaged. You shouldn't have to look down at your phone and then only look back up to see if something else is happening interesting. The plot moves really slowly and then it just ends at the end on a cliffhanger. No, that's not how it should have been. What it should have been is this: get an introduction to the characters. Earwig, she's getting adopted. She gets the lay of the land of the new house. The house is magical because of the witch and the warlock. Earwig starts going through the witch's magic books so she can learn magic and start using it to mess with the witch and the warlock. The witch and the warlock catch on to Earwig and try to defeat her, but then Earwig defeats them back, and at the end of the movie, Earwig should be like at the end of the movie that I've watched, Earwig, at the end of the movie, it should be Earwig sitting in her bed retelling the tales of the fact that how she got to where she is, and the movie should end there. How the movie ends and how Earwig ends is just like time passed. She's already have everybody wrapped around her finger, and she's waiting for her friend to come inside. Sorry for that pop. That I'm playing with something. I'm playing with like a little tiny cap. But anyway, how the movie ends is her friend comes over for Christmas, but then her mother drives up, and then her mother surprises Earwig at the door, and the movie just ends. And like the opening to the movie doesn't feel like a typical opening to any Studio Ghibli movie, where like it takes a nice like panoramic shot of the town and the vistas of where people are, and like you see like background characters interacting, and it feels like a real life community. It doesn't feel like that. They do like a really half-key opening where like there's music and like there's like silhouette shots of the characters, and like the background stays the same image. I was expecting some like psychedelic, like kaleidoscope type background, but no, they keep the image the same until the movie starts. And I just want, this movie had so much potential to be good, but it didn't. If I had to give it a rating, 2 out of 5 stars. 2 out of 5 stars. It knows what it wants to do, but it doesn't do it. And it had a lot of potential to be a good kids movie based off a book. Cause like now, if you type in Earwig and the Witch, you're only gonna get that film. When I try to type up the book after I watch the movie so I can get more information on it, every single time it talks about the movie, the Hayao Miyazaki movie, and how there's ratings of it. I can't find the book. And then when I do find the book is either really hard to find or gets replaced again by the movie. This movie has, I don't want to be rude, but this movie has overshadowed the main source material, which should never happen. Now when because I remember when I was little and we were reading a certain book, there would be an animated adaptation of that book, and my teacher would put it on during school. Now this movie is going to be that animated adaptation, and nobody's gonna fully understand the book. So, to be fully honest, you're better off reading the book than watching the movie, because the book's more entertaining than the movie. And they take liberties with the source material, making like Earwig's mom like a band member, where in the original book she's just a witch who doesn't want to be a witch anymore, or she wants to like, express her magical abilities and do other things, but due to the witch's cult, they won't let her leave, so she has to run away, and thus she leaves Earwig at the orphanage or foster home. And this movie had the potential to be a good movie. It really did. It really, really did. But Hayao Miyazaki's son doesn't take advantage of that. He played it so safe to the point where it's boring. He played it so safe where he wasted a lot of time setting everything up slowly and not pacing it correctly. I'm sorry, Hayao Miyazaki-san. I'm sorry. I know you have a like big shoes to fill because of your father. And like I know everybody's expecting you to be just like your dad. And I know that you want to make him proud at the same time prove to you, not only prove to your dad but to prove to yourself that you can make something without, your father's help, that you can make a name for yourself. But as your father said, he still sees you as a kid. Roughly saying, Hayao Miyazaki still sees his son as a kid, and coming from a person who can't really finish an animation from themselves without stopping halfway, this says something. But once again, I appreciate you guys listening to this. This movie is a terrible telling of a good classic book. Read the book instead. 2 out of 5 stars. But once again, if you're going to tell a story of a book, take your time. Note, take your time. Put post-it notes in the parts that are important and should be implemented into the story, and then supercut it and make it an hour or 2 hours long. Thank you for listening to 12-minute review. Well, go watch the movie for yourself to see what I mean, but that's about it. Thank you for listening. Bye.